of when we're live. So
What's up, everybody?
welcome.
Welcome. We are live once again talking about The Last of Us. Episode number 3.
Exciting.
Go ahead and roll
The thing.
the thing. Now.
It's weird. Can't hear it.
Got a bunch of stuff that people are not online for. Really? Like we said, we're back with The Last of Us,
Yes, sir.
which has been a really great series so far.
It has.
Talking about episode 3. And you might notice some changes.
Wow.
All right. From now on, we're a musical and only a musical. So everything will be
That's right.
sung from now on.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so that's the big change.
What's shaking, everybody?
It's YouTube.
Welcome to the show.
All right, we're just kidding. Obviously, the set's slowly changing.
Yeah.
It's going to go for a more minimalistic
Minimum.
style.
Yeah.
Rather than the clutteredness. As much as I loved it,
I did too.
it's
but
it's old.
it did provide some lighting issues.
Yeah, it did. Very many editing issues as well and stuff.
Yeah.
Also, the producer found that it was difficult to produce while sitting on the couch, so she'll be chiming in from her little station.
Yeah, we did get her a little.
Who is currently still setting up as we go, apparently.
Well, you know,
Sometimes
this stuff's got to happen.
So that's awesome. Laura says, "Yay! Welcome to the show."
Yeah, thanks for coming, Laura of Nerdy Couch.
Let's get right into this episode.
Mixed reviews, eh?
Mixed reviews, indeed.
And I think we have some mixed opinions, possibly even in studio.
In the room, I don't think they're going to be as mixed as you think.
Okay.
We're going to have some opinions that align, and then we're going to have some opinions that don't align. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think.
Can I start with
You can. You may.
maybe a little PSA. We'll call it a PSA.
A PSA. Should this worry me?
If you're one of the individuals that are review bombing this because it's just way too LGBTQ plus for you, get your head out of your ass and find something better to do.
I will promise you, none of the issues coming from this channel will be related to that.
No, I don't think so.
It doesn't make a difference to me.
Right. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out.
Oh yeah, don't look.
After I watch the episodes and stuff, usually during the week, I'll do bits and pieces of research on the episode when I'm trying to think about what kind of talking points we want to hit, and you know, that was one of the biggest things that came out of it was all of those pieces around the review bombing, and it was a lot of people all shit because it was too woke, I guess, or whatever you want.
Shut up.
Just, but I mean, these are probably the same people that were all griping that about the show and the casting and this and that too. I mean, wait until I guess these people don't realize that Ellie is gay.
What?
So that'll be interesting for them.
And you know what? There's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, he wasn't gay in the story." No, they hinted that they were in a relationship, and if you didn't catch on to that, that's your own fault for being too stupid.
Yeah.
So just let it go.
Yeah. But anyway,
that means nothing.
No.
To us, it was actually a beautiful episode.
I absolutely agree.
Okay.
I thought, again, this being a filler episode, and if you didn't...
Oh, so we do agree on that.
We do agree that it's a filler episode, because it's a big backlog side story that
was
really had nothing to do with the game.
It was
right?
unnecessary. Just say it.
Well, no, because it did fill in little pieces of, backstory on how people might have survived in...
Unnecessary backstory is what you're saying.
Well, not totally unnecessary, but there was good pieces of information in the episode.
That could have been portrayed easily in other ways rather than spend an hour on characters that we spend 10 minutes with in a game.
If you made it through that section in 10 minutes, kudos to you, guy.
All right.
Because I didn't make it through in 10 minutes.
I've seen your streams. You didn't make it through anything in 10 minutes.
That's right.
I think that, I don't know. Okay. I'm going to let it go for a second.
All right.
And we can get on track.
Okay.
Because you had your Karen. All right.
Yeah.
I can read the board.
Right. It's Karen.
Okay. You're Karen.
No, Karen.
Karen.
Not Karen.
All right.
A Cairn.
What is a cairn?
It's like a stack of stones monument to like a fallen person. They would have been popular in like tribal cultures and stuff like that.
Okay, so what is the distinguishment between that and a lot of times when people are traveling or doing like hiking and stuff, they will build stuff like that as markers.
Yeah, they will.
So what is to distinguish a marker per se,
right,
and a cairn?
A cairn. A lot of the times when you're building something that is to mark a trail or a path, what you'll do when you do those things, and something like the Native Americans would have done with young trees as well.
Mike and Cassie, welcome.
They took the trees and bowed them in directions to kind of show the path. So it's directional. The same as like an Inukshuk with the arms, the way that the arms would have been posed would have shown a directional.
I love that name, by the way.
Yeah. If you're from Canada, there's a lot of Inukshuks. Once they, became kind of a popular thing, there's people making them all over the place up in the north.
This is like the Reading Rainbow. I'm learning.
Yeah.
All right. We left a terrible path to get through, didn't we, Wheezy?
Thanks for joining us, Wheeze.
So the Kern.
In this episode, we kind of start with Joel down by the river, and he's building that little monument that
it's his way of having a funeral or a wake,
an ode to Tess, like something.
It's his way of showing that he cared and that this is it's the best he could do at the time.
Right. Well, I mean, he's not like a
overly
wear your emotions on your sleeve kind of guy at this point, especially. So, even in the past when we saw him in the first episode, it's not like he didn't seem to be like a hyper emotional kind of guy. Except for, when his daughter died. But
I mean, you can feel free to chime in too, producer, if you'd like.
We did set up a mic for her over there.
Yeah, so. But she's so involved in the production value.
Yeah.
Okay, I will chime in.
Okay, thanks.
Spoiler alert to anyone tuning in right now. We are reviewing episode 3 of
we
The
got
Last
through
of Us.
that part.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
What's it like to be so awkward?
Yeah, I feel like you're more awkward over there.
It's just awkward no matter what.
So yeah, I thought that was a kind of cool tribute to Tess from Joel, and a nice show that he was thinking about her and still cared.
There's little tidbits that he cared.
Yeah,
and he like you said, he's not one to show it even when he comes back from that, and Ellie's wanting to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not having it.
No,
don't want to talk about it. Don't bring it up ever again.
And Ellie was a lot more straight up in the show than she was in the game. Like, it seemed like she was really apologetic in the game, and then in the show she was basically saying,
not my fault.
It's not my fucking fault. Like,
I didn't do it.
Like,
You
it
chose
wasn't me.
You chose to take the job for your own needs.
Yeah. So
you needed a battery. I'm your means of getting the battery. Don't act like this was my fault at all.
Right. So much more straight Ellie in this episode than we would have saw in the game for sure. But that being said, she also mentions she'd never been in the woods. And there's more bugs than she would have expected, which was a line straight from the game even.
Yeah. She was born into this, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't have a life outside of this.
Right. So she's and I would assume she's always been in the quarantine zone basically, right?
Or in the schools.
Right.
Right, which is in the quarantine zone.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's all she knows really.
Yeah. Don't get a lot of Joel and Ellie in this episode.
No.
So they have to make those moments matter.
Right.
Right. So they're traveling, and just like she's never been in the forest, the scene with the plane.
Yeah.
Right, where she's excited just to see a plane, excited to talk about Joel. Questions of, hey, have you ever been in a plane?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
No.
All right.
Nobody wants to be trapped in a big tin can. That's
it worked out for them too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he does make a snide comment about it. Ooh, they got to fly.
Yeah. Now they do have a conversation on the way, while they're walking.
Mm-hmm.
And she's asking a bunch of questions about how he got the marks on his face and stuff like that. And she's again pressing to have a firearm.
Yep.
It's just us two now. Don't you think it's a good idea? No, he's there. He's still in a very. Is it because he's acting a father, or is he acting like he doesn't trust yet?
I think it's a little of both. Like the way I felt about it, I think was that, he's having a hard time even trying to trust her or doing any of those things or get attached to her because of, his trauma. Like, he doesn't want to get attached to this kid and even start thinking about her like that.
Pulling away still at this point.
Yeah, he's holding it. He's holding it back.
Welcome, Mitch, by the way. That's your job, by the way.
He's there.
All right.
So yeah, that's kind of the feeling I got, was he doesn't want to get attached. Like, he's trying his best to.
Still doesn't want her to see things that might be disturbing.
No.
Like the scene, he'd rather take a different route because of that whole
mass graveyard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of where we start kicking into
the past, I guess.
The past too, but before we get to that, the Bill and Frank story,
which is essentially what this episode is.
Yeah, we do see them go to that little stash spot, and they're picking stuff up, and we get another piece from the game, or kind of like the game, where Ellie sees one of the arcade machines and gets really excited.
Oh yeah. It's their, like you said, it's one of their stashes.
Yeah, and she kind of messes with the machine.
In an old store or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Was that this? That was this episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Did you watch it?
It's been a long week. So yeah, there was the Mortal Kombat machine that was in there. That kind of walked hand in hand with the one scene in the game where she finds.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that was a made up game for the.
In the game, it was, yeah.
But obviously, they're going to use a game that, first off, is correct to the time.
Yep.
Second off, is a notable game.
Mortal Kombat 2.
That everybody's going to know, with a character that everybody's going to know. So it just worked well.
Yeah. It was great.
Right? It was a nice.
I liked it.
A nice tie-in. And then the other notable thing there is her finding the. What is it? What stage?
Half dead. I would have said it was.
Is it a runner?
I would imagine. Yeah. I don't. it was hard to tell because it did look like it had, and it's gonna I sound like a geek when I say stupid things.
No, you sound like a geek all the time.
It looked like to me that it had some signs of advanced infection. So it hadn't reached the clicker stage, obviously, but it was certainly headed in that direction, I think, because of the half of its face was starting to cover and stuff.
So
maybe we were into runner or into stalker lane.
When she cuts it,
yeah,
is she testing the humanity of it? Is she seeing if it...
I think she hates it. I think she wants to see if that's going to give it pain because she's vengeful against it, right? Her experience with it is it bitter. It's changed her life.
There is a heartlessness to the way she looks at that thing.
Yeah.
Like there is damage.
There was violence.
Mental damage has been done.
Well, it killed her friend.
Yeah.
They killed it. They killed her.
Like the way the eye of the thing tracks the knife.
Yeah.
And stuff, like it's very aware.
Oh yeah.
And then she gives it a cut. I thought maybe to check whether it was still human. There was something said by her that says like, is there still anything in there? I thought maybe that was before I stabbed this thing in the face. Is there anything left in this thing? I thought maybe.
Monica, welcome to the show. And hey, Tim, what's up?
What up, Tim? What up, Monica? I might be completely wrong there.
Maybe.
Though.
But I don't know. I got the real vengeful sense.
There was definitely, there was a feeling there you didn't get from her until that point.
Yeah.
Right.
Like mostly, maybe that's her coping mechanism is being that snarky. Plus, she's a teenager.
Kind of the same way,
silly, like, snarky, like joking around about everything.
The same way you use humor to mask anything that's going on in your life.
My pain. That's why Dan tries to make jokes all the time.
I've never made a joke in my life.
He's dying inside, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Oh. I'm not saying I'm not dying a little inside. All right, but it's not jokes.
Oh.
This is real life stuff.
Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't know you were serious.
Joel stashes the gun.
Yes.
Saying
the big gun.
We don't need it anymore.
No.
Instead of just pocketing it and it goes into like deep pockets.
Right. Yeah,
they're going to stash it because it just gets heavy. It could be used against them.
Well, and there's not enough ammunition.
Yeah.
It's not just laying around for an assault rifle.
Just check drawers.
Right. If he would have looked in some drawers, he might have found some ammunition for that particular weapon.
So,
Monica says that it's her that's killing you slowly with mushrooms.
Monica can no longer eat mushrooms, she says.
Oh.
After showing the fungal French kiss to her.
The fungal French kiss.
Yes. Thank you again, Mitch Masters, for the list of amazing names for the kiss.
Yeah. Actually, I made that list. But we can give Mitch credit.
I'm sure that he
sparked the idea for me to make the list and gave me an extra one.
You can't take credit for everything.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I was the one on our group
Sounds
chat
like you're taking credit for something.
That posted the list. But it's okay.
Mitch, thank you.
Thanks, Mitch.
All right.
So yeah.
Let's kick into the meat of the episode, okay?
Right. We got some Joel and Ellie buns, but the meat is all Bill and Frank.
Yeah, it's all Bill and Frank. Starting with Bill.
Yes.
Who, in the game, we don't spend a ton of time with.
No.
I would say that this is the most... Obviously, this is the most they've veered away from the game.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. There is people who love this episode. There are people who don't like this episode. There are people in this room that will argue both sides of this. I'm sure that will come out.
I hope it does.
Go ahead and unmute that mic.
You actually want me to chime in now?
I do want you to chime in.
We're pulling into the Bill and Frank's.
How did you feel about Bill?
Bill?
Yeah.
I'm pissed.
Just straight pissed?
Just straight anger. A little wheezy. Unfortunately, had to watch this episode beside me. And I was just enraged the entire time.
Now, why, though? What did you not... I get that we can all agree that this was a filler episode.
Yes, and we can agree that they veered away from...
the main plot quite a bit.
The main plot. Well away from the main plot. But what was it that made you just so furious?
In the game, you meet Bill.
Yeah.
He's just one of those guys that you meet along the way.
He's a badass guy.
You need something from him. He owes you a favor. So you're there.
Okay.
Him and Joel absolutely despise each other.
He had never even...
In the game.
He had never even been
that
there.
They changed it for the show, and that's fine. Whatever.
But I don't think they changed the dislike that much in the show. There was a whole ton of distrust, and any of their dialogue, there was constant tension.
There was, but there was more of a hatred in the game.
I don't think it was even a hatred in the game. He was totally willing to... I don't know. And here's the thing. So what I've been doing is I've been playing through the game.
Let's get ready to rumble!
As the episodes go. So I've been
to Bill. I've been watching a walkthrough.
And I really disagree with the statement that they just hate each other. Joel never really was just like, I hate you. He was like, he owes me some favors and stuff like that.
It's a feeling that you
got. That's the feeling that you got.
A lot of feelings in this game.
I didn't get that feeling.
Just saying.
Joel never trusted anyone.
Okay, sorry, keep going.
Joel never trusted anyone.
What is my opinion about? What am I talking about?
You're talking about Bill and your impression of in the show.
Bill in the game compared to Bill in the show is a fairly different character.
You don't have to eat the mic.
And I don't know if that's because, listen, I'm always going to eat the mic, Dan.
Yeah.
This is just how I roll when it's with mics.
Even more than this one. You could stand in another city and that mic will pick you up.
Yeah.
I got a different feel from Bill. I don't know if it's because we're showing Bill as he was like a younger man. So maybe he was softer, wasn't so hardened. Maybe that's what it was. But it wasn't the Bill that I was looking for from playing the game. Which is not a huge deal.
And again, I'm going to have to disagree one more time. Because I think that you're confusing...
I'm just going to sit back and...
Bill is a hard guy. Bill was a hard guy, is a hard guy, and was throughout this episode, unless he was with Frank. And with Frank, he was just able to let down his guard and just be himself instead of trying to be this hard survivor guy.
Yeah, which I understand.
Well, it doesn't sound like you do.
I do understand. Well, what I was looking for was this badass, angry survivalist that we met in the game.
Which you got when he first came out of the house.
When he first came out of the house, yes.
And throwback to the whole, when you first meet Bill in the gas mask and full gear, he came out of the house just like that.
Tim, you're absolutely right. It was a beautifully written, well-performed episode. I thought it was fantastic as an episode.
Stunning episode. There was absolutely nothing wrong with this episode.
We're not going to get... What?
We're going to have to duel for this episode.
Okay.
Rifle, pistol.
Rifle, pistol, sandwich?
Fine. Bring it over.
I still don't know what beats
what. We'll do it at the end. We'll do it at the end of the episode.
I don't remember. Did we settle on the rules?
Yes.
No, I think
rifle beats pistol.
No,
pistol
the only
beats
rule
sandwich,
you settled
sandwich
with
beats rifle. Right?
Rifle beats
pistol.
Sandwich.
No, rifle
sandwich
beats pistol. No, sandwich beats.
Sandwich is the ultimate.
Yeah,
well, then why wouldn't it be
rifle?
rifle?
Beats rifle.
Ellie sandwich is the ultimate sandwich.
That's why sandwich beats rifle.
Yes.
But pistol beats sandwich.
Right now, you should be showing that meme.
But
I don't have it.
I'm prepared.
This is sandwich.
Okay.
Pistol. Rifle.
We're not playing sandwich. Pistol,
but we
rifle.
will. Anyway.
Okay. Agreeing with Tim, it's a stunning episode.
Absolutely.
It was a deep, heartfelt episode.
Yes.
It hit hard.
How'd you feel about Frank then?
How'd I feel about Frank?
How did I feel about Frank?
I have no way of knowing how I felt about Frank. All I have is the show, because in the game, he's fucking dead.
Yeah, because he hung himself because he got
He's
infected
not-
and whatnot.
he's
but he left a note for
unalive,
Bill.
gosh
He
so-
hung
darn it.
himself because he couldn't stand Bill anymore. He had to leave.
I
As
thought
he was
he
leaving,
hung himself because he got infected, but
No, he hung him.
You can
or he
find,
unalived himself.
You
No,
can
no,
find
okay.
more
Sorry.
lore in the game.
He
Huh?
You can find notes in the
I know
game.
the
You
notes.
can find out a story.
Oh.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
be very clear. He left to go on his own path
Yes.
because he couldn't stand being with Bill anymore.
Right.
Then he got infected.
Right.
Then he hung himself because he was infected.
He unalived himself.
He unalived himself because he was infected.
Right.
Okay, so he didn't hang himself because he couldn't stand being with Bill.
No. And he probably would have came back to Bill.
He left
They had
because
a
of that.
squabble. Sometimes I
Alright.
leave the house if I have a solid squabble.
I just end up at Tim Hortons, but
But could you imagine being in a world where this is going on and you can't stand this guy so much that you're actually going to go out into it? There's a whole town that they've got quarantined.
I feel that way about you
And
right
he wanted
now.
to leave the town because he hated this guy so much?
He has been.
That's not a squabble.
That is a squabble. I would. Yeah. I would
you
wander
think-
out into the world of.
You think Frank would have inevitably gone back?
I think so. They've been together. It's two people that only see each other all the time.
Oh, that'd drive me nuts. I'd do it too. I'd go.
And I don't care if it was any one of you guys. If I saw you guys all the time for however many years, and it was only us, just two of us.
Who would you be able to spend the most time? Who would you be able to last longest with in this room?
It sounds like a trap. Sounds like
It does sound like a trap.
trap.
I'll tell you one thing. You better pick one of them because you're not gonna last with me.
Why not?
First off,
I think you're saying a lot without saying much. You're now saying that you wouldn't last with me, is what
No,
you're saying.
I'm saying-
That's...
first off, we are like.
You're not.
I'm just saying these guys would take care of you way better than I would.
That's fair.
You know.
But if there was a large zombie-like creature running at me, are these guys gonna just leave me there?
Not producer, but I believe that Wheezy would take one out quite quickly. Yeah.
She just did the whoa. She caught it.
All right. Did you just say
She said
I'm
she's
right?
That's
in
why I
the-
said. That's why I said you're not. But
You just put I'm right in the in the chat. Oh, you're intolerable.
I was also a little shocked that Frank didn't try and get Bill to populate the town and make a community. Actually, in this scenario, not in the game scenario.
I just think that Frank, out of all the places he walked, fell in the one hole that Bill.
There had to have been more holes, right?
One hole.
Well, I mean, actually, that was probably the safer option because if not, then it would have
Then
been
he
like a
would have been-
flamethrower or an
no,
explosion.
that's not true
or...
because he made those after the
Oh.
fact. He made those devices after Frank had arrived.
Oh yeah, he warned them about the potential of raiders and So the town that they're in, same town as in the game,
Yep.
Lincoln, which is cool.
Not as impressive.
It's not as dilapidated, I
see
guess.
you have traps
Yeah, I did write traps
on the board
because I thought that was. I just love.
in the game. His traps were pretty epic.
Yeah, they were really solid
Okay,
traps.
now he has a fence.
He has a fence and flamethrowers that go off.
Eventually, he has flamethrowers.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have he just, in the game, when Joel is talking to him, he basically just came up with these nail bombs.
Yeah.
So it's not like he had those previously.
I guess he does also have the tripwires
Yeah, he's got tripwires.
and stuff like
kicking
that.
around.
So he's set himself up quite well, just like in the game.
Yep.
And seems perfectly fine.
Yeah.
On his own, eating his way too luxurious
Those
luxurious dinners
solid meals.
for being in his situation.
Mhm.
Okay. You know, he's got power.
Mhm.
He's He's got a garden.
Yeah.
He hunts.
Yeah.
He's got wine.
He's got good wine.
Okay.
That wasn't even messing around wine. That was good wine.
All right.
If you know wine.
When you've got the run of the town, like there's a smirk that goes on his face before he goes to pillage the town.
Because that's
like, this
like,
is
you get to
time.
just wander around and take whatever you want from wherever you want.
Yeah. Now, Bill was not a social guy.
No.
Before the event, I don't think.
It didn't seem like it.
Like, you don't have a basement full of computers and a special hatch to get there already set up. If you're not, like, I think he was a bit of a conspiracy.
Well, he was a prepper.
Yeah,
right?
he was. Oh, yeah, they did say he was a prepper.
Or a survivalist. Is what he prefers. A survivalist.
Bet you all preppers like to call themselves that.
Why don't we ask Derek? Our friend Derek.
Yeah. Why was Bill standing in the middle of the street?
Yeah. So when the raiders come, instead of, doing what you would normally do and find cover.
Bunker down?
Yeah. He was, when Frank ran out, just standing in the middle of the street.
But the only reason he got shot is because he took his
eye off the prize.
His eye off the prize. Well put.
Yeah.
Frank was a hindrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Frank wasn't a survivor, right? Like
he would have rather not wake Frank up and let things be. Take care of the business and go back to bed.
Right.
All right. How many times has this happened? That Frank has just slept through.
Yeah, that's fair. Just didn't wake up. It was on the other side or something.
Yeah.
Not as close.
Yeah. He was a badass.
He was. I agree.
And
he was a gruff individual. Had a hard time with social situations, but made it work with Frank.
I will say that. Maybe it's the circumstance. But he was quick to fall in love. He was quick to accept that emotion.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, in 2003, in Massachusetts, it was illegal still for gay marriage and...
Actually... I'm getting uncomfortable.
Okay.
Not emotionally or anything like that. Physically.
Okay.
They stated that during the time of this event, actually the state was declaring gay marriages legal at that point.
Oh, yeah?
So at that very time, that was happening in the real world.
So the likelihood that, he still would have been living in a world previous to that where it wasn't.
He would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying there was some significance to that they were trying to make.
Yeah. And the fact that they did end up getting married was lovely.
Yeah. Very sweet.
Yeah. And we did, so the Raiders thing I think was a cool point, just because I think it's going to lead up, like that's kind of showing you what kind of people are out in the wastes, and that's where Joel and Ellie are heading. So
it does. It is our first real human threat, other than the what's the
Fedra?
The Policia.
The Fedra.
It is our first real human threat.
Yeah.
Right. So it is significant.
Yeah.
There are bad people there. The scene where, so Frank and Bill are together now.
Yep.
After playing the piano.
Yes.
Because that's what
a lovely scene.
Triggers love.
Yeah.
Pianos.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. You play me a piano right now, I'll gaze into your eyes.
Post-apocalyptic piano?
You play me a piano right now, I'll gaze into your eyes and I won't stop.
Yeah. You fall in love with me.
Got a lovable face. brother.
Thanks. Thank you.
But
yeah.
They are getting a life together. Frank wants to spruce the place up.
Yeah.
Wants to have people over. There are no people.
But he finds them.
Finds 2 people.
Yeah. Joel and Tess.
And it just so happens to be Joel and Tess.
Which works out great for the whole business thing that they start up there.
Yeah.
So.
Joel warns him that people will come.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, well, I get it. You care for this man, protect him and stuff. But then he doesn't know what to call his relationship with Tess.
Right. Because Tess like throws out the lover vibes and Joel just isn't having it, basically. They kind of talk about that in the show too. Like, you know, Tess even mentions it, I think, about Tess even mentions it about like she's never asked him for anything, not to, you know, reciprocate those feelings or anything. She's never asked him for anything. And that was when he was trying to get him to take Ellie. So, you know, there's obviously some tension.
Producer
there.
doesn't know how to do 2 things.
What do you mean?
She doesn't know how to be a part of the show and
produce.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're talking to people and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love.
I want you to add anger.
That must have been a tough watch for you and you, then, if she was just grumpy through the whole thing.
I will say,
because. Can I finish my thought?
No, you don't have thoughts. Go ahead then.
It must have been hard for you guys to watch that, like, because as a standalone episode, I thought it was amazing, emotional, stunning. Like, it was an incredible episode.
You said a key phrase there.
Yes.
As a standalone episode.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
And I think so. I think one of the reasons, or potentially one of the reasons that they're doing this now, is, you know, showing this standalone episode is so that they can kind of set up for other standalone episodes, like the one that we'll likely get in Left Behind, like the Left Behind episode that we're gonna, I think, get.
But that is a significantly more important character.
Riley isn't, though, in this grand scheme of things.
If we could take a poll and say who would be more interested in hearing more about Riley than Bill,
I
would love
Bill.
to know.
Loved Bill in
I
game,
would love to know.
And I enjoyed the fact that they stretched his story, even though it was a shift from the game.
Riley is an important person to our main character.
Yeah.
Bill is just a guy.
Well, he was important in the
he was
smuggling
important
trade
for 5 minutes.
Now it's 5 minutes that it took you to beat that part of the game? Sickening me.
I'm just saying, the fact that you would say as a standalone episode. If this episode was taken out of the show, replaced with something more story building,
sure,
and then just put as a side note, that would have been fantastic.
So it upsets you that it's like in the show?
It's a 12 episode, is 9 or 12? 9 episode show.
Mm-hmm.
And we got an entire episode about a side character.
Right. Which
was lovely.
So do you think they're Boba Fetting right now?
Except, yes, they're definitely Boba Fetting. It's completely unnecessary. It was awesome, but a complete waste of time.
Chime in for a sec?
You may chime in.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I think the biggest reason why I didn't like this episode is because it didn't have a lot of main things that happened in the game that I was looking forward to seeing. Okay. Such as the anger between most of the characters. Well, all 3 of the characters that should have been in the scene. It didn't have Joel and Ellie going all through the town, looting stuff, ending up at the high school where you're supposed to see your first bloater. That was a big deal for me. This was supposed to be the bloater episode.
So you missed out on a bloater.
We didn't get to see the big truck scene with Fedra and the shootout and the clicker almost killing them. It was things like that I was like, where's all this stuff? Now they've gone past that. And now we don't get to see those cool things that I think a lot of people were looking forward to seeing in this episode.
You didn't get to see the hanging upside down scene, which you really wanted to see.
I freaking hated that part in the game, but it was really cool.
All right. See, I think the bloater is probably going to be their big baddie, their end game, right? So I think that they're feeling like maybe it's too early for that big baddie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think you're going to be seeing your bloater, and I think you're going to be excited when you see it.
Oh, I agree. There's going to be a bloater in the show.
Right?
There is. I think I had, like, my expectations were too big, maybe?
I think your expectations were big on account of the first 2 episodes were bang on almost.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And this episode, as great of an episode as it was, for me it was the worst of the 3 episodes. So far, it's the worst episode. It's a great episode. It's just misplaced, I think. I think that it needs to be a standalone thing. It doesn't drive the story. In a 9-episode thing, you got to keep momentum.
Tim thinks that this episode was important to the show because it makes it more than just a show following a game.
No. You can't go bang on and be like, hey, this is just a recreation of the game.
Right.
Right? But I think they spent a lot of time on something that in the end doesn't really mean anything.
I think it's important to the show based on the fact that it builds on and shows the humanity of other people other than just our main characters and what it takes to survive in this world and what that world has come to. So it may not have driven just the main story plot, but to give context to the overall plot of what the world is at that point, I think it drives that story home.
I think that's a fantastic statement.
And especially for people that,
I just
didn't play through the game.
I just think it could have been done in a shorter period of time.
You know what else could be done in a shorter period of time?
Your attitude. I don't know.
But yeah. Are we done? Are we done with our general gripe of the our producer over there?
Do you have any more hatred to spill out?
Did you want to spit any more venom?
It's not that I hated this episode.
Well, it sounds like you hated this episode.
It was a gorgeous episode. It was well produced, well directed.
They've made.
Actors were amazing.
Actors were amazing.
It was a beautiful
Bill,
episode.
Nick Offerman and Frank Murray Bartlett.
Amazing jobs.
Amazing.
All right. Do you think that was the right cast for Bill?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was perfect.
Agreed.
Well, obviously he wasn't.
What do you mean he wasn't?
You just said
wasn't angry enough.
He wasn't angry enough.
Yeah, but I already talked about how it was when he was younger.
Oh, he grew.
Well, no,
he
had like a 20-year relationship or something
old.
like that. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah.
Visually.
No, I think his acting was awesome.
But you're saying the attitude wasn't there for you.
If we're comparing Bill from the game to Bill to the TV show, it's really hard to do so because the show was showing him at a different stage in his life. He could have been not so angry and everyone needs to die and all that stuff.
This shows him through the entire relationship with him and Frank, though. So there's a variance there. Yeah. Right? Like if he was going to get angry, during that time, it would have been closer to the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But instead, it was a murder-suicide.
Yeah.
It was very sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it wasn't.
No, he definitely killed Rag. Like, he poisoned the wine and gave it to him.
Frank did drink it.
I guess
He
so.
knowingly. In fact,
What is that? Assisted?
In fact, he asked for it. It's
assisted
assisted
suicide,
then.
yeah.
Okay. The meal that he made was the exact same meal. I believe the wine was the same.
Yeah.
You know, it was all very heartfelt.
Oh, it was super touching.
It was the most emotional.
And the note that he left for Joel, because we do
Oh yeah,
swing
for
back
sure.
to Joel and Ellie, was great too. And it even mentioned that he never liked him.
Yeah, it did.
Just to
the note mentioning Tess.
Yeah.
And you know, them obviously not being aware that Tess has passed at that point,
obviously,
right?
yeah.
And saying,
they've been dead a while.
Use this equipment and this stuff to take care of her.
Yeah.
Right. And then Ellie stopping before saying that also, and like the emotion there was nice too.
Mm-hmm.
And then him not reading it out loud, but just them showing the note and clearly seeing the word like Tess in the note.
Tim, did anyone get mad at Bill for also unaliving himself? Because he was pretty angry at that. I was not. I was expecting him to not, and then still be alive because of the game. But the fact that he did, I thought, was also a beautiful testament to their relationship.
Producer
in the show.
How did you feel about
a lot of
Bill
fight left in him for the world to become a better place? I don't think he gave a rat's ass if the world became a better place.
No, not at
Bill,
all.
He
No, he was content.
If he stayed alive after Frank had gone, maybe we would have saw that.
You would have saw that angry,
real crusty, shitty Bill that Laura was hoping for.
The only
that wouldn't have fit into this episode though.
He says specifically, he's like, I was perfectly fine with everyone around me dying.
Yeah.
Until somebody came into my life.
Yeah.
And
ruined it up.
Yeah, pretty much. I was going to be crusty. Then someone came into my life and made it better.
Yeah.
And gave me strawberries.
Yeah.
I truly believe without those strawberries, different Bill.
That's fair.
Okay.
My people believe in the magic of strawberries.
That's a good trade, by the way.
Yeah. It's a great trade.
Pistol?
Strawberries.
For some strawberries? For like a garden?
Well, and I mean, you saw his weapon collection at one point. Like,
yeah,
he can lose a pistol for a garden full of strawberries.
Definitely spare one. But how did you feel, producer, about him unaliving himself rather than being around and them meeting Joel and Ellie personally?
I thought
can see by your head movement
that fitting upset. Like for the show. I thought, yeah, he definitely would have killed himself.
She's angry.
The way that like they set it up for the relationship and how close they were. Grimm, I swear to God, I will come over there.
Oh, you forget she's like listening and watching to this? Huh? Watching this? Listening and watching to this?
I feel like they definitely did the right thing in the show for having him kill himself because Frank was gone.
The way that they
I was also very disappointed though because I would love to see Bill after Frank is gone.
You want to see him in misery?
Yeah.
Terrible person.
He's a badass survivalist.
All in all, it's the episode we got.
See, and you're saying that, it was a lot for this episode for like a really short piece of the game, but she's like obsessed with, this episode should have been a whole episode still, by the sounds of it, should have been dedicated to angry Bill. We just got a sweet emotional Bill episode.
I think she's more obsessed about that than most. I don't know. I wouldn't say most people, because there's probably people that feel the same way.
Tim wanted to see more Bill in future episodes. And you wouldn't have, though.
Because they would have got the truck and been gone.
Yeah. In the game, Bill's a side note character. There's a lot of fun that you have in the game through that portion, but then, it's this tiny snippet of the game, and then off you go.
I feel like there's people who wanted to see a continuation of this episode, which would have definitely been unnecessary.
Yeah, that would have been too much for me.
There was somebody I saw on a TikTok or something like that. I said that they wanted to see a movie of it.
Just a whole movie of Frank and Bill.
I'm now you're going too far.
Probably. I don't.
Let's have a runoff series.
I don't think
you
can't support a whole series with that. No. That story was told in an episode, and I think it was well told. And I don't think you need a 2-hour.
I definitely don't think you needed more.
No.
I mean,
no.
There's nothing wrong with the episode. It was great. I just don't know how I feel about it being a whole episode.
Did you expect to get 9 straight episodes of just story push then? No fluff. You're just like, no.
What's fluff?
I don't know.
What's fluff good for?
You're going to have fluff.
What's fluff good for?
Expanding the world that the story is in.
You didn't expand the world, though.
I just told you how it did.
You had a self-contained story.
I just told you that it built upon the narrative of the world that all of these characters are in.
We know this world.
You do. She doesn't.
All right. You use your mind and your imagination, and you can imagine that there's someone out there who's living a life through all of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's my thing, okay? In where I'm at in the story, do not know their names. Okay?
Okay.
But there is a brother who is leading his younger brother to try to find the fireflies.
Okay.
Okay? And I can't wait to see their backstory. I can't wait to see what happened to them in their life. Okay? And then the guy that they walk across the street, and there's a guy who falls down and stubs his toe.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see where he came from.
Oh, yeah?
Okay? Are they going to do this with every side character?
No, you're missing the point.
Because there's a lot of fluff.
No, they don't need to do that for every side character. And this is an early episode and the perfect time to do this kind of thing and develop the world for people that haven't played the game or watched a walkthrough.
Oh, I'm glad that we got to know Bill.
Me too.
All right.
I loved this episode.
It was a great episode.
I think it's the second best episode.
I think it's the worst episode.
I think it was better than the first episode.
I don't know that there's going to be worse episodes.
Well, agree to disagree then. What did you think of Ellie and Joel's new outfits?
Oh, she's finally wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
From the game.
And Joel's got his green plaid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you happy with that there, Crab Apple?
What the hell? Yeah, it was kind of cool to see Ellie's palm tree shirt.
Nice. That's nice. Did you notice that the truck was the same?
I did notice that the truck was the same.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things that I had a problem with in this game,
the whole game
episode, is that I'm not sure that I liked Ellie finding the gun and keeping it a secret.
Okay.
Because I think that in the game, the way I felt is that when he finally trusted her with the gun and gave her a gun, it was more powerful and it was a turning point for him. rather than her first gun in the game being something she found rather than him giving her a gun.
Right.
How do you feel about that? Or did you think about that?
I'm thinking about it right now.
I would have rathered him offering her a gun, saying that I'm starting to trust you.
Yeah.
Rather than her finding a gun and hiding it in her bag.
I think it'll be an easy shift for, the trust to be built still with something like, Joel's being attacked and then she busts a cap and saves him.
Well, that's what happens in the game too.
Yeah, so I think like right? That shift, so it won't be, he's not giving her.
And then it turns slowly from a, what were you doing? You could have got hurt to a, by the way, good job back there.
Yeah.
Right? I just think that now they have to have a moment where he's like, where'd you get that type deal? And I think that hinders the trust between them rather than him showing that this is a turning point where I can trust you.
Well, I guess we'll see, won't we?
I guess we will.
That's going to hinder his trust. I think then he's going to view Ellie as someone who's actually capable of taking care of herself.
Yeah, but I just think that the gun thing, like him not giving her a gun up to this point.
But up to this point, he sees her as baggage.
Yeah.
That he has to haul across the world.
Yeah, I know, but her hiding it from him, I don't think that helps.
I think that does help, because he's looking for someone kind of like Tess, who's just badass, take care of myself, get what I need by myself, I don't rely on you. And now Ellie is going to be showing that she can do that too. And I think that's going to help gain his trust.
Mm-hmm.
I just think she should have been upfront about it, that's all.
Yo, check out my pistol.
Bam, I'm boss now.
Yeah. Straight hood.
So, you're probably right. I'm probably overthinking that. But I do know that in the game, when he finally gave her a gun, I felt it was a turning point for him. Right?
Yeah.
So I kind of
I can see it both ways. I think
yeah,
I understand. Like, that's a big deal, right? Like him giving her that trust in the form of a pistol.
Yeah. And well, and previous to that in the game, he gives her the rifle to cover him.
Yeah.
Right. And after she proves that she can handle it, he's like, you know what?
You can have a gun.
Yeah. So
we won't be getting any more Bill in future episodes.
No. Knocking the mic.
He did.
How's the chat doing?
That's the episode, guys. I don't really have a lot more to say. Are you? Here's my curiosity now, because you've been ripping solid 10s and we haven't even bothered banana rating.
We haven't been banana rating, and I don't feel like it's necessary.
Okay.
Let's be consistent.
That's interesting. No, okay. We haven't been because
I've already said I think
solid
that this is my least favorite episode.
Yes.
So what does that tell you?
It tells me that there's a potential for you to have dropped your score from a 10 banana.
There was no score.
But there has been. You said there was no need because it's just 10s all across the board. But now we're at a point right now.
You can't just introduce bananas.
We're not just introducing. We've talked about it several times. I'd like to point out how brilliant the final shot of the episode was. In the note, it said they left the bedroom window open. I loved that too.
Yeah.
Actually, that was a nice point. They left it open so that the stink wouldn't flow around.
That signifies.
Final shot was Joel and the kid driving away. Shot through an open bedroom window. Yeah.
Yes, we do sound like a married couple, by the way.
Yeah.
So
the final scenes in this,
the window being left open signifies the starting menu of the game.
Yeah.
It starts with an open window.
Yeah.
And they had planned on having every episode start with an open window.
Oh, that would have been kind of cool.
Right? Why it got botched? Maybe it didn't make sense. Maybe it was hard to make it work. brilliant idea, but if something doesn't work, it doesn't work, right?
Right.
So they're saying that this was kind of their tribute to that.
That homage, yeah.
Right? Which is fine. That's perfect, right? And they did it in a way that made sense.
Yeah. Beautiful shot.
Right? The whole, like, Joel trying to go in there and then the draft closing the door and kind of veering him away from actually entering the room. You know, everything kind of just worked out.
Yeah.
So that they were just left in peace.
Right.
Right? And that they weren't discovered.
That's what I mean. Like, the whole episode, the story of the episode, regardless of the adjustment to the characters and stuff, cinematically, again, the actors, again, all of the points that I'm going to say every time, because thus far, and so it has not failed me yet, has been stunning and perfection.
It's probably the most well-produced episode. For sure.
For sure.
Like, everything in this episode was perfect and exactly the way they intended.
Yeah.
Right? From the acting to the production or everything. It was absolutely a masterpiece.
Yes.
You know, and it was like
so again,
emotional. It was.
Does your score go down
I'm
based
gonna tell you though that it's the only episode that I didn't feel like I needed to watch twice.
See, this, for me, having played through the game several times, is probably the only episode that I feel like I need to watch again, because it's so outside of the game story.
I'm just, like, for me, it was like the other episodes I wanted to watch again, and I enjoyed watching again. This one, I went to watch it again, and I was on TikTok.
Wow.
I was not... The information...
What is your banana score on this episode?
The information that this episode gave me was not key information that I feel like I needed to retain for the rest of the show.
Right. I hope they bring up like little...
If they do,
chunks.
Fine.
All the way through the rest of the show.
If they do, I'll buy you a soda.
Okay.
All right? You can hold me to that.
All right.
All right? There will be no banana score.
Oh my God.
All right? What sort of time do we have? As long as you want. You're terrible.
We're basically out of time.
There's not a lot.
No, I'm like that was my points. I'm done. That was it. All I had for notes. Is there anything else anybody has got? Interesting points, thoughts?
Okay, you hated it.
So you gave my assumption is you gave like a couple of 10s for the first 2 episodes.
You were obsessed with the rating scale.
Because that's how things go. That's what we do here, is we rate things.
Are we defined by the bananas?
We're banana people.
Because that's bananas.
It is bananas.
All right? That's bananas.
Exactly.
You know what's even more bananas is that was on time.
That was beautiful, by the way. Well done. You're really taking, you're really starting to take your job seriously.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Do you have a banana square?
Banana score for this episode?
We don't need a banana score.
I want a banana square.
That one's difficult to do.
No, it's not.
It's
just say what comes to mind.
Am I okay? So just rating
based on you're watching the episodes, you're a game fan, you're a fan of the game, you've played it, you love it. What are you saying?
Based on I've played the game, I've been a fan of the game, I would give it probably a 7.
Okay.
7's a fair score.
That's still good. That's a reasonable score. I think you're scared to give a banana score right now.
If I'm being honest, if I gave the other ones a 10, I would probably give this one 8 bananas.
8?
8 bananas.
Okay.
because it was a fantastic episode. I just don't know where I sit on its value.
Okay.
To the show.
Right.
Which obviously I'm wrong about.
Oh, it's not necessarily wrong about it. I wanted to know.
Yeah,
I wanted to know how you felt.
Yeah, and you forced it out of me.
I really
feel
did.
Used.
Do you?
I'm uncomfortable with this.
Are you?
That I was.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I need 7 more of these. What happened to this banana, by the way?
Well, they're old bananas.
They are old bananas.
We need a new bunch.
New bunch of bananas. What do you call? Is it a bunch of bananas?
Yeah, it's a bunch. Do you know they grow this way?
Is it a bushel of bananas or is it a bunch?
It's a bunch. Yes. Did you know they grow this way?
Oh, upward?
Like they don't hang like this.
What are you friggin' talking about?
Like they grow up. Like that.
On the tree?
Like that.
Oh, like the
fingers going. They're reaching up. They don't hang.
Yeah, so that you can go like this right off the tree.
Yeah, you could. That's enough about bananas, I guess.
Anyway, I think we're gonna call it quits.
Mine's a 10, by the way.
Nobody asked you.
I know.
All right.
Yeah.
What would you have rated the other ones then?
11. Like a rock
We don't
star.
even have an 11.
You turning it up to 11.
You spinal tapped it?
Yeah. No, I would have rated the other ones a 10 as well. I'm still right on like a 10 streak right now. I loved this episode. I loved how it was put together. I loved its impact on the story.
I would agree with everything except for that last
Yes,
part.
I know.
Possible.
And that's fine. But you know what? That's all the time we have for today.
Can you just let us know, are the changes in the set? What do you think about it?
Oh, yes.
Do you like the producer over there out of the screen?
Off screen?
Off screen, just chiming in whenever she's angry. You know, we're making some changes to make things look better.
Yes.
For you guys.
Still got Wheezy on set though. So
all right.
Okay.
You know, the hand. Just, you know, go ahead and leave a comment and tell us what you like.
Yeah. Remember, like, subscribe, notifications,
share,
especially, and comment, because
we want to grow the channel. Obviously, we love doing it for you guys.
We're almost at 450. That's hot.
Always remember that there is a prize coming your way at 500.
That's right.
So
watch out for that.
There will be a contest to win.
That's right.
So
love you. Peace out, guys.
Did you mean to say that? See you later, guys. Join us next time. Get excited about tomorrow's episode.
Yes.